Gondar Fano is holding high-level talks. Several commanders in talks. A seven-member committee is being proposed to lead Fanos in Gondar. Exclusive information which we have received about Fanos' efforts to unite in Gondar. Secondly, big news from Somaliland is Somaliland at last going to get international recognition as a country. Are 17 countries considering recognition of Somaliland as a country. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for watching. Firstly, was a quick announcement. In tonight's live chat, I'll break an exclusive news about some advanced weapons purchased by the Ethiopian government. This is the first time in Ethiopian history that Ethiopia has bought this type of weapon from this country. Hopefully, I'll complete my work and I'll share all the details with you in tonight's live chat. Now, let's start with the news story about Somaliland. Somaliland for decades have been struggling to get recognition as a country. According to international law, Somaliland is part of Somalia, and the country, like Taiwan, has no recognition. US supports one Somalia policy. EU, everyone supports one Somalia policy. Case for recognition of Somaliland as a country was highlighted last year when Ethiopia signed an MOU with Somaliland. Ethiopia wanted access to the sea. Somaliland wanted recognition. They signed an MOU. MOU could not be implemented because Ethiopia backed off. Now, it is being reported by several sources, Middle Eastern sources and Western sources, that 17 countries are considering recognition of Somaliland as a country. And these 17 countries include the US, the UK, the UAE, Israel, and several other countries. It is being said that Somaliland could join Abraham's Accord. Abraham's Accord, which was joined by some Middle Eastern countries. It was proposed by the US. It was about relations between Israel and the countries which signed Abraham's Accord. US wants countries to recognize Israel through Abraham's Accord. Somaliland is trying to get US recognition. Why? Because it knows if US recognize Somaliland as a country, other countries will follow. And that is why it offered military base, air base, port use to the US. It offered its mineral resources to the US. To counter Somaliland's offer, Somalia offered to host US military, and Somalia offered its mineral resources to the US. And Somaliland, we heard, was eager to host deportees from Gaza. But Somalia has been opposing the expulsion of residents of Gaza. Somaliland supports Palestine. Somalia supports Palestine. Somaliland, people say, is close to Israel. That is why Israel could be one of the countries to recognize Somaliland. By the way, if these countries Recognize Somaliland as a country, it would mean a complete failure of Ethiopian diplomacy and foreign policy. Why? Because had Ethiopia recognized Somaliland as a country last year, it would have gained sea access. But Ethiopia backed off. Ethiopian PM made the first move, signed MOU. When international pressure was exerted, Ethiopia backed off. If now other countries recognize Somaliland as a country, Ethiopia recognition won't be of any importance. That is why maybe Ethiopia missed the train. Let's see. I think when Ero visited Addis Ababa a few days ago, he was again frustrated with Ethiopian views. Ethiopia is not willing to recognize Somaliland publicly, though its dream of gaining access to sea is not materializing. Eritrea opposing, Djibouti opposing, Somalia opposing, Somaliland waiting. But the Prime Minister of Ethiopia is still not interested in taking the bold step of recognizing Somaliland. Let's see. Coming months crucial. It means if these countries recognize one as a country, what will Somalia do? Uh, can Somalia make counter moves? Let's see. Somalia will have to use African card, I think. If no African country recognizes Somalia as a country, Somalia can use African card, only card left right. But how will it survive then? Because Somalia relies on Western financial support to survive. Anyway, second story is from the Amhara region, viewers, where uh, Fanos are in talks to unite. Haptevolde 3 days ago said, or a statement was attributed to him. Within 2 to 3 days, Gondar Fano will announce good news about the unity which they are working to create. So, have they made any progress? Which commanders are in talks? Which types of unity? Which type of unity are they working on to create? Well, I talked to a few people who know what these Fano commanders are talking, so I received some information I want to share with you. Yes, meetings have been held. Daraje Bale was there, AFPO commander, Amhara Fano, People's Organization commander. Massafinth was there too, one of the most well-known and old Fano commanders in Gonder. Haptevolde was there too. Some people say there are still differences between Haptevolde and Daraje Bale. And that is why when uh, some AF, NF, and AFPO commanders met a few days ago, Haptevolde was not there. But what I have learned is that Haptevolde was part of these meetings. Hapte was there, Arega was there, Solomon was there. These people, these commanders held talks. And an idea was floated to form a 7-member committee. Just like in AFNF, a committee has been formed on the highest level, a 13-member committee. It was proposed that a joint committee of AFNF and AFPO of Gonder should be formed. It should have 7 members, 4 from Amhara Fano National Force, AFNF, 3 from AFPO, Amhara Fano People's Organization. Since AFNF is larger group in Gonder, that is why it demanded to have 4 representatives. It was proposed that the two groups, AFNF and AFPO, will share their resources, their manpower, their weapons, their logistics, and they'll carry out joint attacks They'll execute plans jointly. The committee will make big decisions. That's what was proposed in a meeting 48 hours ago. Final decision has not been made because the commanders then uh, took their time. They want to take their higher command into confidence. Decision is expected to be made soon. Obviously, Darija Bale wants to take Skandanaga on board. Uh, Hapte wants to take other AFNF people on board. Is AFNF supportive of the formation of a seven-member committee in Gonder? That's why the two parties took their time. They're considering this option of the formation of seven-member committee. What I have learned is that it's very likely that the two parties will agree on the formation of the seven-member committee. By the way, if somehow Gondar Fanos unite and other Fano groups engage in talks to end the unite, and they smoothly handle their unity, we could see major rise in attacks by Fano on security forces. In the next 48 hours, we might hear something big from Gondar about this attempt to create unity in Fano there. Thanks for watching.